Y'all ready for this?
Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to another edition of the Pregame Show Rewind. I'm Tolly Carr from Atlanta, and right now this man is on the move. He's in Boulder for like another second. He will soon be in Arizona as Colorado gets ready for Arizona State this weekend. Neely, I'm glad we got a chance to catch up before you hop on a plane, brother. You're getting away from the friendly confines of Boulder to what some people are saying, hey, we might be able to breathe a little bit. Got Arizona State, not one of the top 10 teams in the country, but still no one that you want to sleep on. Tell us a little bit about what we can look forward to Arizona State this weekend.
Well, one of the things I'm not looking forward to is it has been a nice, mild beginning of fall here, 62, 65 degrees, not a cloud in the sky, sunny, sunny, sunny. And we're going to Arizona where I checked the forecast is going to be 100 degrees. So not looking forward to that, Tyler.
Dry heat too.
But, this is one of those games where the Colorado Buffaloes are the favorite. It's a game that you're quote unquote supposed to win. Sometimes you look at those as trap games. In football talk, Colorado State was one of those supposed to win games, and it went into double overtime. So this staff and this team, the goal each week is to go 1-0, accomplish that goal 3 weeks in a row, failed to that goal 2 weeks in a row with Oregon and USC losses back-to-back. But this is the weekend, and for the next 2 weeks, frankly, that you really want to get off the schneid and get it back together because you have favorable matchups in your next two opponents.
Well, Neely, I think it'll be a balmy 65 in Atlanta on Saturday. For people that haven't been with us for this entire ride, this is one of my favorite jackets that you love to clown me on, the ski vest. It was all fun and games when we were at Jackson State, but now I think this thing would look good in Colorado, brother, on the slopes, man.
Hey, man, I agree with you. I used to give you hell about that ski vest in Atlanta and in Jackson, and now here we are coming from Boulder. You were just ahead of the times, man. You were a prophet.
I called it. All right. So one thing that people were calling for, Neely, was more effort, more results at least, out of the running game. We did see some progress. The running game did look a lot better against USC last weekend, and that helps the offense in so many ways. You had a chance to catch up with Coach Flea, Gary Harrell. He's the running backs coach there at Colorado, and he talked about the importance of the running game.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we did a good job as far as play calling and taking care of the advantage of the right opportunities. The quarterbacks put us in a great position in the run game. The O-line did a great job for us up front, making the holes, and the backs did a great job as far as hitting it. And that's one thing that Coach Prime is hitting on as far as establishing the run game, creating that identity. It does a lot for the offense. It gets us going and moves the chains, and it gives us a sense of identity, who we are as far as toughness. But throughout the game, as you see, we got better and better, and it should carry over to this next game.
And you still got, a lot of talent running back by committee.
Yes.
How do you manage that when you see a practice in the game, who you're going to feature that week?
I watch the guys in practice, see how they maneuver throughout practice, the mindset, how they study in a meeting room and bring it out to the field. But then it's all about game day. They all know they got to be ready for that moment. Even though Hankinson's the guy that's dialed up from the beginning of the game, I got to see how he's maneuvering through the game. If he's feeling it, if he's making the right read, protection is big for us. If he's on the right guy, if he's finishing his blocks, but he's an all-around guy. And once you're in that game, Hank was in a good groove.
Mm-hmm.
Dylan is our change-up guy, but I wanted to continue to ride with Hank and let him carry out the game in that fashion because he was really feeling it, finding the right reads. And Dylan came in and gave some good things as far as some explosiveness, some breaks here and there. And then also, when you look at Shedeur, he made some good runs also from the quarterback position. So with those three, I think the running game was where it needed to be. And then, the rest of the guys know that, Savion, the Smoke, the Alto, they got to be ready for that call because you just never know what can happen.
Neely, if there's one thing that you could put your finger on, do you think it was just an advantageous matchup? Was it the guys just you talked about it. You said it yourself. Look, it comes down to a decision that I'm going to hit that hole. I'm going to break this tackle. A lot of it just comes down to what the runner decides he's going to do and not allow to happen. What do you think was the difference last weekend?
Well, I think one of the key differences, Tolly, and Coach Flea alluded to it there, was not just the mentality of the running back and the mentality of the offensive line, but also the mentality of the offensive play caller, offense coordinator Sean Lewis. At times you have to have deliberate run plays. A lot of times in RPOs, run pass option, quarterback's choice, the back and the line don't know if the running back is going to get the ball or not. So they're kind of playing it safe, trying to play it both ways, seeing what's going to happen. But when you line up in the backfield and you have a back like Hankerson, he knows the ball is coming to you. We're not going to audible out of it. And the offensive line knows that as well. You get production that you're not used to getting with the previous games here in Colorado. I look for that trend to continue because it was some much success. And run blocking leads to better pass blocking. So I think when you get the confidence of the offensive lineup because the guy's taking one for 5+ yards, it just bodes well for the next play or play down the road when it's a pass play.
Yeah, I mean, I would imagine that changes the mentality of the offensive linemen because they would obviously rather run block because you just need to run your man over as opposed to do the dance with the defensive lineman.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't care what level of the game you are, from middle school up to the NFL, a lineman will tell you he loves to run block because what he does not have is eyes in the back of his head, and he doesn't know which way the quarterback is spinning or going out left or right or that kind of thing. So there's some challenges and nuances to pass protection that are different from the run game, and these guys prefer to run block. And now that they've had a game under their belt where there were some deliberate design runs, I think it helped get their confidence up.
There's one thing I want to go back to in that USC game. We didn't talk about it in the last episode of the pregame show Rewind, but Shedeur Sanders did allude to it in press conferences since then. There was some confusion and some critiquing of the play calling on that last drive where time was running out, and we saw a couple of just runs up the middle, and the armchair quarterback is like, "What are you doing? You're wasting time." That play didn't result in anything. But Shedeur talked about players not being in position, or he didn't think they could get into the position, and he felt like we might have wasted some time there. So in essence, he opted into those run plays late, and it was hard to dissect in real time watching it. But that was something I think gave a little more clarity and context after the game.
Sure, and I think that while you were there in the moment, I happened to be standing next to Coach Prime right behind when it was happening, and even he signaled, "Man, throw the ball." But you're not seeing what the quarterback is seeing, and he was presented with information from the defense that a pass play was not going to be the best play for that situation. So he audibled into a run play, which made the crowd, moan or groan or say, "What the hell is going on?" But I will tell you this, Tolly, all's well that ends well. We get the ball and the opportunity to tie the game up with 1:40 left on the clock, and we just had a poorly executed onside kick. So more than what QB1 decided to do with those 2 or 3 plays, it's really about having wasted, if you will, timeouts early in the game on the lack of personnel changes and also a flawed onside kick attempt. Because, again, everyone knew if we get that ball again, it's going into overtime.
All right, so Omarion Miller, man, he set the world on fire with that performance, and really in the second half of that game, he goes in afterward. We talked about this a little bit in the last episode. Coach Prime was like, "Hey, I hadn't seen that in practice, but you talked to Omari right after the game. It was so cool." Michael Irvin comes up, and I mean, I cannot imagine the confidence that must give you to have one of the greatest wide receivers being that complimentary of your game. But we've had a week of practice since then. You can't film and show us everything, but you are there. Have you seen that confidence carry over in practice this week with Omarion Miller?
Absolutely. And one of the first steps in this being able to happen is Travis Hunter still being out. And Travis Hunter is going to be out versus Arizona State, which means that you're calling up guys from the depth chart, from the second team. Freshmen are getting opportunities, and Omarion Miller is both of those. So you saw at practice all week long that Shedeur Sanders was still finding him in those kind of clutch situations, even designing some things for him because personnel-wise is advantageous for his capabilities right now, and we'll see what happens when Travis returns. But I tell you what, man, just as cool as having Michael Irvin, a Hall of Famer wide receiver, come up and quote unquote interrupt the interview. At lunch this week, Snoop Dogg himself FaceTimed Coach Prime, and not to talk to Coach Prime, but the one to speak to Omarion Miller, and they went out on the balcony and had a conversation. So he has been riding a wave this week, one that he's not resting on and wants to get more of. He said, man, everywhere I go on campus, every time I open up an app on my phone, there I am. I like it. I want more of it.
I would imagine his footsteps just seem to be a little light. That has to like just up your swag a little bit, man.
Oh, certainly. Nothing feeds confidence like success. He had tremendous success, contributed heavily to us almost coming back and securing a victory in that game. And so I look to him to be that same player going into Arizona State, but not just Arizona State, but beyond in the weeks to come as well. He's a new weapon for Shedeur Sanders.
All right, so there's the celebrity following that follows Coach Prime, and it has just been magnified and blown up there at Colorado. So let's take you behind the rope a little bit. You may be sitting at home and thinking, man, how did the players handle this? Like what is Shedeur Sanders thinking when he sees, DJ Khaled, posting on social? He's doing the watch thing. He's setting the trend for a trend setter. What is he saying to T.O. on the sidelines during the game? Well, someone asked Shedeur about those two things in particular. This is what he had to say.
Because I know everybody's regular humans. So it's not, I don't really be fazed by names or anything like that. It's just they come here to watch the game, like entertainment purposes. So we got to stay out there, handle business, because all that stuff could go away quick. So, like, really my mindset with everything is take everything with a grain of salt to it. Like, it's cool, but if things don't work out the right way, then they'll remember you for a bad thing. So you don't never really want to have those guys be the focus of that. I feel like that's more for them, being able to witness history, them being able to see what's never been done before in person, live in person, and them going to be able to tell their kids one day, hey, I remember when this happened.
You walked down to the end of the sideline and you were talking with T.O. for about a minute before you went down and scored. Can you talk about what conversations you have with him during the game? And
I can't, honestly, I can't even recall that specific moment. Yeah, I can't recall that specific moment because it's a lot of like mental battles you're going through with yourself during a game and each game, and you're analyzing different things that happen or that may happen, or, just playing the game within your head. So I can't really recall that.
So it comes as no surprise if you have ever met Shedeur Sanders. I remember the first time I met him at SWAC Media Day a couple of years ago. He's a freshman at Jackson State, and I think my question was something along the lines of, hey, man, you're going to go play in all these, iconic places where all these greats once played. He's like, man, I don't care about that. He said, I ain't here for that. We're a different team. And it didn't come across as arrogant. It just came across as very confident and focused. And he has been that dude since day one, man. He does not get fazed. Enjoys the moment, I would imagine, but not fazed, much like his father at all.
Yeah, for one thing, man, he's used to it. Not only was he a star of their family reality show when he was a little kid, but since his quarterback prowess beginning in high school and winning state championships and coming to Jackson State, if it ain't nothing else he's used to cameras, attention, and celebrities being around. And so it's going to be hard to get him off focus, during the game or before a game. Even leading up to game day, he's off his personal social media. So if you slide in his DM, he's probably not going to see it to Sunday night. And by the time Monday afternoon comes, he's back off social media again. He is hyper-focused, man, hyper-dialed in. And I'm not going to say that spreads all the way through the team because social media is a big part of these guys' lives. But you see when you're around him, other people get more dialed in too, because that's what Shedeur Sanders is doing.
So one of the great things about watching the pregame show Rewind is you often get breaking news just in the course of regular conversation. We're not out like, hey, look at this, clickbait, breaking news. We're just passing along stuff that Neely knows. So last weekend on early Friday, I asked you about Shiloh Sanders, and you're like, look, ain't no game time decision. He ain't playing. And then I'm listening to ESPN radio like Saturday morning, like, breaking news, Shiloh Sanders not playing. Man, we told you that yesterday. So that brings us to this week. Shiloh's got him in week to week with the internal injury he was dealing with there with his kidney. Has he practiced? You think he'll play this week? Have you got any leaning towards what we might see?
He has certainly practiced. He has practiced every day this week. He's in the yellow non-contact jersey. And before you read into that too much, Cameron Silman Craig typically practice in a yellow non-contact jersey, and he's out there leading the pack in interceptions. So don't read too much into the jersey. I feel very confident that Shiloh is going to travel based on what's been happening with his kidney. He's day-to-day in the lab tests as they measure the amount of blood that may still be remaining in his urine and that kind of thing. But I'm optimistic that he's going to play this week. Certainly look good at practice, right back into the scheme and being a leader, the vocal leader on defense, and is traveling with the team. So the arrow to me is saying he's going to play.
All right, so we will hopefully see if all is well. His health and safety is ahead of our entertainment, but boy, it is fun to watch him play. And Cameron Silman Craig must be protected at every turn. The man leads the Pac-12 in interceptions. Treat him like a quarterback during the week. Don't touch that man.
That's right. That's right.
Neely, there's been some bubbling up early on here that the love affair in Boulder is real, and then somewhere out of the ether came the conversation, Deion for life in Boulder. A reporter asked him about this sentiment that's floating out there. Here's what Coach Sanders had to say.
If I listen to that, I'm going to have to listen to this. You can't choose that and not accompany it with this. So either I'm going to be in it, or I'm going to be out of it. That's a wonderful gesture. I love it. But I'm smart enough to know and old and wise enough to know that can flip on you instantaneous. The fan only blows when you're hot. My mama said that, not me. So if y'all want to be mad, get mad at my mama, okay?
Hey, look, man, he gets it from his mama. He said, don't be mad at me, mad at mama. He said, the fan only blows when it's hot. He said, I love the fact that the love is out there, but, it's the scale has two sides. I can't get too wrapped up in one side or the other. But I will say this, a lesson learned, hopefully, for any current or future employers of Deion Sanders, show the love early. Because if you leave that door open, man, there will be suitors. So early love, I would say, is never a bad thing when dealing with Coach Prime.
Absolutely. One thing about Deion Sanders, he's been there, done that. He understands what it's like to walk out of a dugout and be cheered, to walk out of a dugout and be booed in his Major League Baseball days. He understands the same thing about football. He has won NFC championships and lost NFC championships, meaning he's been a step away from going to the Super Bowl and then not going. So the ebb and flow, the ups and downs of winning and losing has taught him one thing, that the people who are cheering can also boo you. So he's not motivated by either one. He ain't out there reading the positive comments or the negatives. And that's what he was saying when he said, hey, if I listen to this, I got to listen to that. And I'm focused on coaching football. I don't listen to either. But I would say to the people out there in the spaces who are, administrators in athletics, who are boosters and that kind of thing, the roadmap and the role model is there. When he was about to leave Atlanta didn't do too much to keep him. He ended up going to the 49ers. And when you look at this time a year ago, after winning a SWAC championship in undefeated fashion in conference play, there was no extension on the table at Jackson State. So both Atlanta and Jackson State kind of put the message out there in the universe that we're not doing a lot to keep him. Here come the 49ers and here comes the University of Colorado. I think that as time goes on through this season and next, you're going to hear more and more about him being offered an extension and that kind of thing. I think people learn from other people's mistakes.
The man has earned a contract after the first 5 weeks of the season. I would say, Neely, it's safe to say the man has already earned that first contract. Well,
if you look at ticket sales early this summer and merchandise sales early this summer, it was earned then. That was before we even played the game.
And the historic ratings, the amount of attention, like it is there. Like you don't have to be a finance major. You didn't have to go to Wharton. You just have to go to the School of Common Sense. The man has earned the contract and more. Neely, you said this a couple of weeks ago. You talking about the success of Coach Prime. I forget which episode it was, but you said oh, there's going to be some backlash. There's going to be some rules, and there's going to be some things changing. You just wait and see. Now, Neely, I'm not going to jump on my conspiracy train, not heading into the weekend. I'm just going to put the information out there because I'm very curious as to what you might say. The NCAA got together, the council, and they came up with some changes this week. They're going to get this transfer portal under control. Only 45 days during the year. They shrunk it down. Can you get enter your name officially into the transfer portal? My thought is that if you don't think these people are communicating and knowing who wants to go where, come on. Come on. They don't want you taking pictures. You can't go, and the school can't take pictures and do the photo shoot. There's all sorts of little rules that look like Band-Aids that they're putting on what they might perceive to be a wound. Did you sense any timing of the rules? What was your feeling, Neely? America wants to know.
Well, speaking of America, it's two things that I have been, and that's black and in America all my life. And those two things over 52 years have taught me that as we become more and more successful, the rules tend to change to quote unquote bring things back into balance or, competition benefiting everyone. You saw it even in the legal field. Once there were black lawyers out there getting these massive jury verdicts, here comes tort reform. Nobody was complaining before that. And so when you look at what Deion Sanders is accomplishing here in Colorado under the rules, like I said a few episodes ago, I anticipated that rules would change. But here's the problem. When you try to change the rules to help other people catch up, it also puts him in a position that he can still do more of what he does. So, you talked about now limiting the number of days, but you're also uncapping the numbers that can come and go and that kind of thing. So, look, man, Coach Prime, Deion Sanders, one of the same. Only coach in America with a gold jacket. Only guy who's done it high level in pro football, pro baseball, and branding, marketing, and TV when he was the NFL Network. There's not a lot you can do to help other coaches compete with him that does not help him just do more than he was doing in the first place. So saw some of this coming, didn't know exactly what it would be. I think, you even said it in jest, Tolly, that one day they're going to say, no special guest concerts bringing your team out. Because anything that he has
personal next week's meeting.
Anything that he has personal relationship, leverage and juice with, no one else has. So yeah, I think they're going to try to limit it. Same thing with the photo shoot kind of thing. Who doesn't want to take a picture in the school uniform, smiling with Coach Prime standing on Folsom Field in the snow or the green grass. So I think more of that to come, man, but he ain't round crying about it. He ain't kicking no can, moaning and wringing his hands. He's on to the next thing, the next game, 1-0 again, and trying to recruit the best kids and dogs he can to get here to Colorado, and that's not going to change.
You often joke about this, kind of the definition of dominance that, you want to be in the Super Bowl, and there's a commercial about you in the Super Bowl, but it was from the whole Jerry Maguire movie.
Absolutely.
I kind of had that moment on a smaller scale. I'm sitting at, I think I was in the parking lot eating some Chick-fil-A, and I'm watching the pregame show, YouTube channel on my phone, trying to keep up to date. And there you are. There's a video about Coach Prime. I was reading the comments, what people were saying about Coach Prime. It goes to the ad. It's a Coach Prime almonds commercial. I did the screenshot and I texted it to you. I'm like, this man has it all wrapped up. He's in the video. The videos are killing it. The comments are killing it. And the ads that show up in the video, he's in the ads too. There ain't many people doing that, Neely.
And ain't too much the NCAA can do about it either.
It is out there. It is strong. All right. So what do you want to see on Saturday against Arizona State? Would this be a great opportunity to get one of those quick starts that everyone is saying, man, Colorado needs to start quickly?
Absolutely. But, Tolly, I say what I say, and I stay on it. The best indicator of future performance is past performance, and this team is just not known to start fast. So I don't think that's necessarily the key to victory because we've won games this season, won games at Jackson State without starting fast. What I do want to see is something that has happened. We went from giving up 7 sacks to 8 sacks to down to 2 sacks. I hope that 2 for number 2 stays about the same because we can do some things if Shedeur Sanders has time and is standing upright and not running for his life. So for me, in this game against Arizona State in Arizona, Tempe, Arizona, in 100-degree temperatures, I want to see the offensive line limit the number of times he's hit, hurried, or sacked. And I want to see them open up holes for the run game, because I think going forward this season, if we can limit the sacks and run the ball, not only are we going to win some games, we're going to win in dominant fashion.
All right, Neely, before we go, we always like to recognize and engage with the people that engage with us in the comments. I want to do something I'm calling an audible. I'm calling a Shedeur audible right now. Hold tight for me, Neely. I got to get one of our props because we need to explain something and educate the people here. All right, hold on. Some of the props are off camera. I like to kind of decorate, switch things around. All right. Here we go. All right, somebody in the comments, Neely, noticed so here's the beauty of our relationship. My full-time regular job is with HBCU Game Day, covering HBCU sports, and that's where Neely and I started working together. This is still very much an HBCU story, what's happening at Colorado, and so we continue our relationship. But one of the things I love, I'm going to go back to the wide shot here. I also direct the show, Neely, while I'm talking. we keep, we put up the Colorado, merch back here, the banner, because that's what we're talking about. But we keep a lot of the HBCU stuff up because it's a great opportunity for exposure. So somebody noticed our Grambling sign here. We'll go back to the wide shot. So this is Grambling. Yes, it looks like Georgia. Yes, it looks like Green Bay. 8,000 years ago, they all decided that was the G that everybody needed to have. But it's the state of Louisiana, the boot with the G on it. And somebody in the comments said, why does he have that Georgia logo on Louisiana? And I don't think it was shade. I think it was just legitimate. This person had never heard of Grambling before, which is, not everybody knows. Neely, can we take a moment just to, you being more of a member of the SWAC than I am, can we educate the people on the good things at Grambling University?
Oh, man, you can start with Eddie Robinson and all that he did to propel young men, not only to professional capacity in his life, but to the NFL. He was that beacon of light right there outside of Monroe, Shreveport area in Ruston, Grambling, Louisiana. So that G is iconic. The players that they have produced are iconic, and they have just had winning ways and tradition. And, Eddie Robinson was also one of those first coaches like Deion Sanders, who was offered the opportunity to move up. There was once upon a time that Eddie Robinson was headed to the Los Angeles Rams, man, to do some coaching, and also the Bears at one time. And I think he turned both of those down to stay right there in Grambling. So, man, rich tradition. That's not the Green Bay G. It's not the Georgia G. It's the Grambling, Louisiana G, man. And they are a powerhouse in the SWAC historically and done a lot for Black college football and HBCUs in general.
Yeah, having a pretty good year. First couple of games this year, off to a slow start, but they got Hugh Jackson there. He has that NFL pedigree, a good friend of Coach Prime as well. So you can check those guys out, and you can look. We love college sports, man. What's happening in Colorado is exciting. But look, Saturday is full, man. Colorado's going to take up 3-4 hours of your day. We still got another 8-hour stretch where you can check out other things. So we appreciate you guys, and always love to take a moment to not get mad, just educate. Just educate.
Yeah, absolutely. That's important, man. The pregame show itself, started at Jackson State University and would not be what it is without that start at Jackson State. And I tell you one thing I've been seeing, man, and it's been a lot of people with talking head commentary. I've seen fans take CU shirts and put an HB in front of it. Nothing that the school is doing, nothing that Coach Prime is doing, but people want to act like it's official gear when it's clearly homemade gear. Let me tell you this, man. I'm here in Boulder. I'm on that campus every day. This ain't an HBCU. There is something that the H means, which is historical. The B means Black, college, and university. So when you see people with shirts like that, man, that's just them, recognizing that there's a shift here in culture and recognition and things that are taking place. But there is nothing in the world that could change CU to a HBCU. Won't happen, never will. And so when I see people get angry at it, like, why are you letting it upset you? Somebody just made a shirt in their kitchen.
kitchen table. Look, I ain't mad at the brother. It brought us some good traffic at HBCUGameDay.com. So look, you can make one every week. We'll put it on display. Let the people decide what they feel. Look, that's more traffic. I ain't mad at all. All right, Neely, looking forward to the game, man. Me, you, and Carl, we're going to catch up after the game. We got to do more of the big boys. We got more of the pregame show rewind coming up. And make sure you check us out at thepregameshow.com. We've had some fire articles coming out this week, so it's perspective from all different angles. We have you covered. The Pregame Show is the place to be. Neely, safe travels, my man. Look forward to talking to you after the game.
Hey, we'll be here. See you next week, Tommy.